Okay, here we go with part three of the answers for the Sweet 15 movie. Again, please make sure that you're checking over your stuff, and if you need to change anything, fix it, and resubmit your document. So, answers to questions for part three. Why does Marta pour the milk into the sink? She uses that as an excuse to see Ramon. Her intentions are to go see him, to let him know that the party's been called off, but as we see later, her plan doesn't necessarily play out that way. During conversation, why does Ramon feel sorry for himself? He feels bad because he's stuck working bad jobs, because he's not educated. He talks about not being able to read and how this is kind of holding him back, and that Marta should be happy that she has all these opportunities in front of her because she has an education and can do so much better for herself. Number three, why does Ramon say he needs to be Marta's escort? What does Marta tell Ramon about the party being canceled? Um, he says that because her friends are all so young that the party's going to turn into the Mickey Mouse Club. He kind of says this as a joke as she's trying to bring up the party. And it ends up with Marta not even telling him that it's being called off because he brings up something that makes her realize that she's late, and then she runs off, leaving the milk uh, at the workplace and not bringing it home with her, which causes an issue down the road. Number four, what does Marta say that her native tongue is, and why is the father upset about this answer? When dad is confronting Marta about why the milk's gone, and where she's been, and if she's been with this boy that she's not supposed to see, he asks her one thing start to settle down. He asks her to pass the bread, and she doesn't really pay attention to him. Dad says, "Have you forgotten your native tongue?" Martha responds with, "My native tongue is English," causing Dad to become very upset. Dad's upset about this answer because he kind of sees it as Martha possibly denying her roots a little bit and maybe not knowing or respecting where she's come from or where the dad's come from. And that kind of takes a stab at Dad's pride. And as we know, Dad's a very proud man. Number five, where does Jorge find work, and why is the father worried about this? Jorge finds work at a warehouse in town, and the dad's worried about this because he says that those people will hire you for a week and then call immigration on payday instead of paying you and have you hauled off. And this is a very real thing that happened during this era. People would hire people without papers, and they'd basically exploit them for a week's worth of work, and come payday, they'd call immigration, and then these people would be hauled off, and these businesses would get off without having to pay anybody. Number six, whose file does Martha find in the amnesty office? She finds her father's, where she kind of starts to realize that Dad's got the secret that he's not really sharing with anybody. Um, and it leads to some things that we're going to see down the road. Number seven, who's Arturo Montoya? By this point, I hope that we realize that Dad's real name is Samuel de la Cruz, and Arturo Montoya is one of the aliases or fake names he uses in order to have work. And again, this is a common thing that people did, falsifying documents and names in order to find work so that they could get by without real papers. So she decides to call his work and uh, ends up getting Dad on the line, but under the assumed name. Number eight, what happens to Jorge while he's at work? Just like Dad said, he gets picked up by immigration. Um, and as you kind of see in the background, the bosses are kind of peeking through the window, seeing it all happen. Um, and we see that uh, he gets picked up and potentially gets deported. Number nine, why does Mom get upset with Marta while they're hanging the laundry? They're having a conversation, and Marta keeps asking questions, and Mom thinks that she's only thinking about her party, talking about how she's being selfish and life is more than just these parties. So Mom gets upset that Marta's maybe not realizing that there's bigger things at play here than just her party. Number 10, Gabby tries to yell La Migra to some girls at school. What is Marta's reaction this time? As we saw earlier, Marta did this at the open market where it caused a panic. This time, Gabby's the one trying to do it at school, and Marta gets upset and screams no and gets her to stop. This is where we kind of see a big turning point for Marta. She's kind of realizing that there are bigger things after having spoken with Mom, bigger things at play than just her and her party. This is where we kind of see Marta really take a big step toward being mature and responsible. What does Marta do with the father's file? She takes it from the withdrawn cabinet at work, and she asks Ramon in number 12 to help her get the signatures for her dad because at the very least he can drive. All right. The next section will be the final section of the movie. Again, keep doing what you're doing. Most of us are doing a great job.